So Chris Eubank Jr. knocks out or stops Dmitry Chudinov in the 12th and final round in what was a very good, brutal brawl, really. It was a very good fight. Probably the second best fight of the night after Frampton versus Avalos, which was also a good fight on a different TV station. So, very good fight, very good fight. Second time in a row also that Eubank Jr. has been in a great fight. It was very exciting, and he's shown a lot of people a lot of things. I thought he looked really good in that fight. I'm not going to lie, I thought he looked really good. I called it exact. Chris Eubank will stop him late in the last 3 rounds. Won some money on it doing it. Put my money where my mouth is. Bet 365. Won some good money. I'm happy. I'm going to bring in the guys. Ryan, what do you think of the fight?
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight. The actual fight was good, and I thought the opponent was good. That Chudinov was the interim WBA title holder. Okay, it's a bullshit title. It shouldn't be. The interim should be fairly respected, because it's basically, it's the number one contender basically. But because there's so many other titles, it's ridiculous. So he had a, sort of legitimate, contender status. He'd beaten some good fighters. He beat Patrick Nilsson, who was undefeated. Patrick Nilsson's been on the scene for years. He's always been that sort of, Scandinavia's number one boxer type thing. He's beaten him. He beat the Mehdi Bouadla, who was the guy who I think he lost. Yeah, he lost to Mikhail Kessler years ago, and he fought Arthur Abraham, I think. So that Chudinov had fought some good fighters, and even though he might not have had that many that many fights to date, he was the exact sort of fighter who you don't really want to get into a fight with after coming off of a loss. But Chris Eubank came off of that loss to Saunders, quite a close loss, and he went straight back in there with a good opponent. So I thought that was a really good fight, really good, sportsmanship, to take up such a difficult fight. And yeah, like you said, it was one of the best fights of the night.
Yeah. So afterwards, Chris Eubank Senior, yes, he said, "My son will beat Gennady Golovkin. We want Gennady Golovkin." Who do you think he's going to fight next?
He won't fight Gennady Golovkin anytime. Well, he probably just won't fight him, full stop. They're just two worlds apart. Golovkin is like a pound-for-pound legend, in the making, whereas Eubank is still at, a low-level contender. So who he fights next, I don't know. I'd go for some European, more European fighters, or some former British, top level fighters. Maybe say Matthew Macklin. Has he gone downhill enough? I mean, if he's gone downhill enough, somebody like Matthew Macklin. And the reason I say downhill enough is because Eubank isn't world class yet, so he shouldn't be fighting world class opponents yet, even with that interim title. So I'd say fight some European guys.
Spike O'Sullivan.
What?
Spike O'Sullivan.
Yeah, somebody, maybe someone like Dominic Wade from America, or John Ryder. John Ryder would be a good fight, British.
Yeah.
Macklin, maybe Eamon O'Kane. I can't think of any European fighters off the top of my head. But that sort of level of opponent, do that for another year, and then step up to world contender status. So three more fights this year. Somebody like Sergei Kamitsky, who is the guy who beat Frank Buglioni. He's always a tough competitor.
Yeah.
That's another dangerous fight for anyone. Mm-hmm. So just keep fighting guys like that.
I suppose that's a good idea. Yeah. And lastly, so you've already said where he's going to go next. Yeah. So you was impressed?
Yeah, I thought he looked quite good, but I thought he looked better against Billy Joe Saunders. He doesn't seem to punch himself out. He throws quite a lot of flurries, but he doesn't punch himself out. His stamina looks pretty good. He could still use his fundamentals better. His jab isn't good enough really for, I think he's got quite a good jab, but he doesn't use it enough.
Okay, Oh,
He
yeah.
fights a little bit like James DeGale in that James DeGale's very skillful, but he doesn't use it all the time. He sort of lets him get drawn into a war. So, I think he's got improvements to make, but he looked quite good.
hmm Yeah, I had a question, but I've just forgot it. What about the stoppage?
Yeah, and I thought the stoppage it should have come earlier. Like, I think it
Yeah.
needed to happen earlier. The Swedish referee just let him just get brutalized. It was worse than an American stoppage or Japanese stoppage, like which are the complete opposite to British stoppages. But yeah, it should have been stopped a few rounds before, so it needed to be stopped, but probably sooner.
If you didn't know, by the way, Eubank Jr. put like 30 odd punches together on this guy before the referee stopped the fight.
Yeah.
30 odd punches before the referee from Sweden. Sweden, a country that is so far left, politically, that they've banned boxing.
Yeah.
Right, that country produced this referee who let this guy take an absolute lampooning in the final round to the point where, and then afterwards he just stopped it. I was like, yeah, okay, stopped it. And the guy was like pretty much dead on his feet.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. But we'll leave you there, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, what are you saying? We'll start with what do you think about the fight? We'll move on to where he goes next. No, in fact, we'll go on to stoppage, and then we'll go on to where he goes next. And I'm talking about Golovkin, of course.
So where are we starting? What did I think of the fight?
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. I watched it all. Thought it was great. It showed us an awful lot about Chris Eubank Jr. And I think he's made himself a lot of new fans off that fight. I really do. He's always been a bit of a Marmite character, a bit of a villain like his dad, but he had the fans cheering, he had the fans standing up and applauding, and I was cheering for him as well, watching it. Not on TV, I'll say that. Wasn't watching it on TV, team stream. Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr., I thought, he showed us a lot in there. He showed us he's got power, he's got mental strength coming back off the loss, and he's got good stamina because he didn't gas at any point. I really liked the fight. I'd definitely watch it again. I probably will watch it again tomorrow when it's uploaded because I enjoyed it that much. It was a great fight. And that Chudinov guy, that guy's absolute nails. Absolute nails. The guy was so tough. I don't know how he didn't go down at any point. I really don't, because he got hit with some big, big shots over and over again. I think he was the perfect opponent for Chris Eubank Jr., the perfect level of opponent coming off a loss, because he was a good solid European level fighter. A guy who will test you, a guy who will give you a good challenge, but he's never really going to have much of a chance of beating you. And I don't think he really had Chris Eubank Jr. in deep trouble at any point in that fight, but he definitely made him work hard. So it was a great fight.
Yeah, it definitely was a great fight. You can't stress that enough, it was a great fight. What do you think about our extreme left counterpart and the referee we're talking about, is control the fight and stoppage?
I think they were both holding a lot in the fight, and I think he didn't do anywhere near enough breaking up as he should have done. He definitely should have took command more. And in regards to the stoppage, I'm going to defend him a little bit, to be honest. I know the stoppage was late and the guy took an absolute pummeling for too long, but this is Britain. We are British boxing fans. We are always moaning about British referees ruining fights and stopping it too quick. We can't have it both ways, really, can we? We can't be moaning saying this referee, like Ian John Lewis or Howard Foster, these guys are jokes because they stopped the fight too soon. We need to see them struck off. We need to see guys who are willing to let the fight go and give fighters a chance. And this is what that guy did, really, wasn't it? And there was definitely, before the fight, there was a bit of an controversy, wasn't there, about whether who was going to referee the fight. I know Chudinov didn't want a British referee. I think the original choice was going to be Terry O'Connor. Now, come on, imagine if Terry O'Connor would have refereed that fight.
I don't think Terry O'Connor's a bad referee.
Oh, no, come on, mate. He is terrible. He's terrible. Okay. He's 5 stone overweight.
Yeah.
Right? he can't even break up the fight quick enough because he's too so fat he can't get across the ring half the time.
Yeah, but he doesn't do any Howard Foster style, does he?
Yeah, but he still stops fights way too early.
Yeah, okay, he would have stopped that fight earlier, but like I'm not defending Terry, but I'm trying not to. I like the referee. I think any referee that takes it back to the 1920s style of boxing, it does wonders for the sport. I think it does. Honestly, yeah. I think it does.
Again,
but what I don't want is at the same time boxers to be comatose. So you got to get that. You got to get that right thing, and I think maybe the referee got it spot on in terms of timing.
If the guy would have thankfully he's not because he looked okay afterwards, but if that Chudinov guy would have been seriously hurt afterwards because the fight went on too long, then I think his corner should have taken more blame than the referee because his corner could have pulled him, his corner could have threw in the towel.
Considering there's only 40 seconds left in the fight, he didn't really need to stop the fight. I won money off the fight. He didn't really need to stop the fight. 40 seconds left.
If he was gonna stop the fight, he probably should have stopped the fight about a minute earlier. I think because until the final round, the guy was well in it. The guy was well in it. So it was slightly late, but again, we're always moaning about fights being stopped way too early.
I'd personally rather them late than early.
Well, if you're bloodthirsty, then that's on you.
That's me, man. That's me. But I don't moan about fight safety as much as everyone else.
Yeah, so that's how I feel about that. And the final question is, who do I think he should fight next?
Yeah.
I think...
Is it Gennady? Is it?
I like Chris Eubank Jr., but if he fights Gennady Golovkin, then I think he'll be beaten so badly he'll end up having a lisp like his dad.
My son is stupendous. He'll beat Golovkin? Yes.
Mate, he will have a lisp worse than Chris Sr. if he gets a punch off Golovkin. But
oh man,
to be honest,
he gets punched way too much to fight Golovkin, I think.
Yeah. You guys mentioned a few interesting opponents. I think Spike O'Sullivan's gone off to America, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got American promoters now, so I think it would take a big offer to get him to come back over and fight Eubank. I'd like to see Eubank fight John Ryder, but that's unlikely to happen because Ryder's with Sky. I'd like to... He should just keep fighting more opponents who are the same level as that Chudinov guy. Solid European level guys.
Eamon O'Kane.
Maybe Eamon O'Kane. Or another guy I've got in mind is that Domenico Spada.
Yeah.
I think I thought
he's not a bad fighter.
Yeah, former European champion. I think he fought Darren Barker and he fought Martin Murray not so long ago.
Yeah, he's not world level, but he's
he held his own. He gave a decent effort against both guys. I'd like to see him fight Chris Jr. Or if Billy Joe vacates the British, I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Jr. fight for that against maybe Nick Blackwell. But Chris Jr. he's not ready to go on to world level, definitely not. But I think we've all seen enough of him knocking over Journeyman now.
Okay.
What
I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna ask you a few questions about Eubank versus world champions, and you're gonna just answer just straight yes or no. Does he win? Okay. So Eubank, does he win versus Quillen? Ryan.
Does Eubank versus Quillen? No, Quillen wins. I think that Eubank's got a lot to learn still. So if right now I'd say Quillen, but Eubank, like I was saying, Eubank's got to fight another year to a year and a half of
yes or no, mate. It's all you'd say.
So no, he loses at the moment.
Paul.
If he fights Quillen right now, no. I'd love to see him beat Quillen because I hate Quillen, but the answer's no.
Okay, I think he would beat Quillen. I don't rate Quillen. Okay, Indam versus Lemieux winner, Ryan.
I think he loses to both.
Paul?
Yeah, he loses to both right now, but he's not a million miles away.
Okay. Andy Lee? Ryan?
Andy Lee's not as good, I don't think, as any of those. I think that might be 50-50.
Come on, commit to an answer, mate.
So, well, I'll say Andy Lee wins.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, same again. He wouldn't win right now, but give it a year and maybe.
Mm-hmm. Rematch with Billy Joe? Ryan?
A rematch, Billy Joe. I'd say Eubank wins because I thought he probably won the first fight anyway.
Yeah. Paul?
Yeah, I think he beat Billy Joe in a rematch. And even though I gave Billy Joe the last fight, I think if Eubank would have started a few rounds earlier, he'd have won the fight. And he did very nearly snatch the fight, just not quite. He fights Billy Joe again, then I think Eubank not only beats him, I think he could stop him.
Ooh. Golovkin, Ryan?
Golovkin kills him.
Paul?
Golovkin via murder.
Who else is there? Who's that one with who? Oh man, I don't want to disrespect him. You can't disrespect the cancer patient. The cancer patient.
Danny Jacobs.
Danny Jacobs.
Can't
disrespect the cancer patient.
Eubank beats Danny Jacobs, I think.
Can't disrespect the cancer patient, Paul.
What? Say that again?
You cannot disrespect a cancer patient. Who do you think's going to win, Paul?
If he fought now, probably Eubank.
Okay. Sorry, Danny. Is that everyone who's got like a title in the middleweight division? I think so. Oh no, Miguel Cotto. Ryan.
Cotto beats him.
Does he fuck? Cotto wouldn't get in the ring with him. He's a coward. Paul.
If Cotto fought a proper middleweight like Eubank, it would be good to see. But probably Cotto. Cotto wins, but I take your point. Cotto is a bit of a bitch at the moment.
Yeah.
What do you think of Eubank fought Murray?
Martin Murray?
Yeah, coming off that brutal beating that he just taken.
It depends how quickly. How quickly?
6 months in the summer.
I don't think you'd be ready for it, Murray. I think it'll be a close decision, but you know, Eubank could win it. I don't think Murray will ever be the same again. I think he took too much of a whooping in that fight to come back. I think it'll take him at least a year, maybe a bit, to come back from that. I don't think he'll ever come back, in fact. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I take your point.
Never
come back.
Rios, look at Rios when he took the whooping from Pacquiao. He didn't take a whooping as badly as him. By the way, Rios didn't take a whooping as bad, I don't think. And Rios said when he fought Canny McCancan from Argentina, he said, I came back way too quick. He said, and he was out for over a year, or I think he was out for like 9 months, or at least minimum. He said, I came back way too quick. I'm thinking, how much time do you want off? If you're fucked that badly off a guy who didn't even stop you, imagine having to fight Golovkin. Man, that'd be bad. He's whooped. Well, I think Murray's done. Honestly, I do think Murray's done. What do you think, Ryan?
Murray beats him because Murray's just world class. And
he's not world class. He's not world class. He might not be world class anymore.
Well, I still think he beats Eubank.
Okay. What do you think, Paul?
If Murray does manage to come back off that beating and is still the same Murray he was before, then I think he beat Eubank easy. But if he is, as you say, just completely shot to bits and ruined now, then I could see Eubank maybe beating him in about a year.
Well, what do you think will happen? Do you think he'll come back from that?
If he gets the right opponents, if he's rushed into a big fight too soon, then I think he won't be ready and he'll probably get beat up again. If he has a few cans for a while, then maybe he can build his confidence back up and get back there. It will depend on how he's matched and how long he has out.
Well, I don't think they want it. I'll tell you what I've heard. Murray said he doesn't want those cans. He wants big fights, doesn't he? So.
Well, I've heard him and Matthew Macklin say that they want to get a fight on for the summer, but
that'll be a big fight. That'll be too.
I think Macklin is even more finished than Murray. So.
True that, yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind that, but if Murray comes back and fights, I don't know, an Andy Lee or a Quillen or someone like that, then no, I think he'd get knocked out. I think that would be too big a fight too soon.
Yeah, so.
Well, if he wants to take those fights, if he gets offered them because he wants the money, then who are we to say he can't?
Mm-hmm. So at the end, I'm just going to end on this question: yes or no answers. Ryan, Eubank, your future world champion?
Yeah, but not for a while, and he won't be unified. He'll just win a title.
Paul, future world champion Eubank?
Yes, same as Ryan. He'll get a belt, maybe not anytime soon, but he will definitely get one at some point in his career.
Okay, I think so too.